la voz de LA. It's la cuna galaxiana, come and kick it with us. I bring the bossa nova beats and talk the club that we love. Another year to adjust, and Will Kuntz we all trust. 6 titles in the cabin, tell a hater shut up. Mirar al horizonte con el cielo morado. Llegamos al estadio como siempre lo hago. Es la nueva temporada, ya cumplí 30 años. Rezándole a San Pequi que no dé al travesaño. Que repartan los balones y no sean tacaños. Que regrese el contraataque y que le hagamos daño. Un saludo para Robert, hermanos ecuatorianos. Que la táctica de Ananda nunca sean en vano. Si se trata de mi gala me levanto temprano. Ver el fur en verano, en el pasto tumbado. Siempre estoy a tu lado, en cualquier resultado. Vamos Galaxy, on top is where I gotta be. Chilling in the canopy, staging like a winery. Goles during rivalries, brew from the refinery. Only want the finer things, we letting you know. Lo que pasa en la galaxia, ready, let's start the show.
Hello, hola, and buenas, and welcome back to another episode of La Cuna Galaxiana, a podcast always made with love for all you LA Galaxy fans out there, wherever you may be, MLS fans, you are welcome to the party as well. We would love to have you. Today, welcome back to our seemingly never-ending group therapy sessions, aka sad full hours, or as our LG in chat says, exasperated full hours. Yep, let's go with exasperated full hours as the LA Galaxy remain winless to start the season after a very flat 2-0 away loss to Real Salt Lake on Saturday, April 5th. It was a match that saw the Galaxy start with the heavily rotated squad with an eye on the second leg of the Champions Cup coming up, and those that Greg Vanney called upon created very little offense on the day and wound up with the loss courtesy of a calamitous 5-minute stretch in the first half. We'll take a look at the mistakes that led to the Galaxy's downfall, why the offense failed to produce, who needs to step up right now in LA's dire hour of need, and if this is the Galaxy's lowest point. Plus, it's all or nothing for the Galaxy against Tigres tomorrow in Monterrey in a match that could lift its season immensely. All of that and more coming up today on La Cuna Galaxiana. And before we go any further, let me go ahead and introduce myself. I'm one of your co-hosts, Rob Halon. You can find all my written work at the Sporting Tribune and Extra Time Talk. And, of course, you can find me online at El Escudero de LA. And right next to me, we have El Yerno Guapo, El Gitano Perdido, my co-host, como siempre, Ananda Kirana. And I would love to welcome you one day with a, hey, look at that W, right?
Oh man, sad foo hours, group therapy, exasperated foo hours, Modelo foo hours, however you want to dress it up. As they say, Robert, you can't put lipstick on a pig. And boy, the Galaxy are looking pretty drabby right now. That's to say the least. I mean, you know, we did the preview coming off that Tigres, you know, hard fought draw, right? Which in the cup, that's a decent result, not giving up the away goal. And we went into it, you know, pretty confident, thinking that we could carry that performance, the tenets of that performance. What do we say, Rob? Being defensively sound. Not making any mistakes and shooting ourselves in the foot. Containing Diego Luna, maybe putting 2 or 3 guys around him. So, I mean, all that to say, a absolutely disheartening performance, and that is, I'm going to pull the word out of the lexicon, Robert, disheartening, which I believe in the Merriam-Webster's dictionary, that's got to mean basically breaking your heart at some level or capacity. And that's what this team kind of did. We went completely the opposite way with our form and our trend. And I mean, as the title says, you know, this is not a statement, but more of a thought starter, more of a query for all you guys listening, all you guys live in chat right now. Are we at the point of rock bottom at the moment? Of course, we will present our arguments why and why not. But, you know, it's just disheartening, man. It's disheartening. I didn't even catch the game. And because I was, as you guys know, I was away and I was on a workcation trip, and trying to think, did I know the score beforehand? I think I might have, because again, stupid Apple always puts, they need to really change that, man. They need to update the thumb, take out the scoreline so that people like me that need to watch on replay can watch on replay. Although I had to sit through, dude. I stopped after like 65. So I'm like, I'm not watching any more of this. Like this is not good. So, anyways, disheartening. Yeah.
Nah, you should have. There was things to pull out of. There was things to pull out of there. But
well, 70 minutes in total, I skipped. Put it that way.
Well, there's something that we cannot skip, and that is the love shown to us by XPH executive producer Herb, dropping in there with the first super chat today. He says, Hey, Rob. Hey, Ananda. Running everyone to show some love to the LCG crew. Oh, yes. Thank you. We love. Hit the like button. Yeah, definitely hit that like button. Hit the sub button, too. Nanda, who are you rooting for in Champions? Good answer, because there's only one right answer. Naively predicting a G's win versus Tigres. You know what? That's not as naive as you think it is, XPH. We'll talk about why in a little bit. But Ananda, you give me your one word. You haven't done your housekeeping yet, so I'll give you my one word so you can go ahead and get that out of the way.
Yes, sir.
Pobre, poor. You're right. It was trending the right way, and it went back, and that's something that I asked Greg and Diego about in the presser. All my colleagues, or most of my colleagues, were out covering the first women's event, first women's soccer event at SoFi, which was the U.S. versus Brazil, I believe. And so I found myself the only journalist and the post-match presser. So I had Greg and Diego all to myself. So it was very nice.
Yeah, very, very well done. Way to hold the fort down.
Hey, no problem. And shout out to Galaxy Comms and my colleague Damien Calhoun as well, who gave me that pep talk beforehand. He's like, he could do it, and I was like, thank you, Damien. Anyway, but yeah, no, that's one of the things that I spoke to Greg and Diego about is if they were kind of disappointed about after such a positive performance against Tigres, kind of seemingly taking a step back. But yeah, we'll cover that when we get to this match. And anyway, so yeah, poor or flat. I don't know, like
same. It's or as GCam says in the chat, completely ass-tastic. There we go, sir.
Well, no, it's frustrating, right? Because again, I saw reactions post-match that people were saying like maybe this team isn't as good as we thought they were. Maybe we were giving them too much credit, and I think that's wrong. I think that they actually, I mean, these are quality players. I mean, there's a lot of players on this team that won the title last year. I mean,
we'll explore
this performance in isolation definitely doesn't show off the virtues of this team. Some of the battling performances, like the one against Tigres, is definitely does show off its virtues. But yeah, and Ananda, you're right. We'll explore it. But go ahead and hit your housekeeping.
Yeah, really quick before I get that. Ooh, little vibrato there. That's an extra credit for everyone in chat without even a tuyo. So XPH, one word reaction, silence. I mean, RSL shut us up because we said that it was going to be a Galaxy win. So there you go. They definitely put us in silence. Speaking of silence, shout out Moving in Silence if you guys are listening. But anyways, so yeah, housekeeping. Guys, you can always follow me, block me, or stalk me at Ananda Galaxiana. Of course, both of our tags are there. That's where you find us on the socials. If you are watching us on YouTube, of course, we also welcome all of you guys listening on audio. But we do invite you to come and hang out in the chat because it's super fun. And the chat usually goes off the rails, making us hungry, talking about food and all that good stuff, and nothing about the LA Galaxy. So more the reason to come over and hang out with us, dudes. But of course, if you have not yet, and you're listening to this, because we know 1/3 of you have not, go ahead and hit the like button. Of course, hit that sub button and hit the notification bell. That's the best. That is the best way you will find out when we are live next. But usually we are on Mondays and Thursdays at 9 p.m. Of course, as schedule permits, because we might have to do some pre-recorded ones again because I'm gonna be on another workcation,
the cosmopolitan one
schedule, man. I got actually a football related one next week. But anyways, that's another story for I can get to that maybe later. But anyways, guys, of course, como siempre, antes de olvidarme, buenos días, tardes o noches. y bienvenidos a otro capítulo de La Cuna Galaxiana, otro capítulo de Sad Fools, Modelo Fools, Exasperated Fools. Too much of this, man. Let's vámonos rápido porque let's get this over with, man.
Well, I also wanted to let you know, Ananda, that I've been working on a couple of jingles, so that if we want people to sub to the show, like maybe just something that like a quick reminder, like a quick chime in there that like that's like hit that sub, like something like that. Just
we're gonna have to work with Arquitekto on that one too.
Yeah, I'm down. Shout out Arquitekto.
Maybe a little rap jingle, a ringle. Anyways.
Okay, I think you took it too far right there. Okay. We're gonna move on. We're gonna move on. Yeah, we're gonna move on for damn sure. That's the cue for right there. Yes. All right. Well, we do see that the homie, the friend of the show, Mike Gray, Miggy Gris, is in the chat. Hello, gangsters, yourself. We had a call to action on the last show. One of our friend Mike Gray, he was asking for a little bit of help, and y'all gave it to him. Mike reached his goal, but he still needs a little bit more help. So that fund is still open. So go ahead and check it out. It's going to be pinned in the chat as well as the description of this video if you need any help, or you can reach out to Mike directly and ask him what the best way to help is. Mike, te queremos mucho, man. Forza. And you know what? Keep it on that community tip. Leslie is showing love for the community after the community showed her some love. In the last show, we told you about how she was doing a raffle of an OG Galaxy kit for medical expenses. She met that goal, so she is going to be raffling this Galaxy training jersey off for free. To thank you guys all for the help. If you want to enter, just reply with a star, and the winner will be announced on Wednesday at 7 p.m. It doesn't hurt to just go ahead and get a little star in there, guys. You got to play to win, right? So shout out to Leslie, shout out to Mike Gray, and shout out to the Galaxy community for always coming through and doing what you do. Cali Art House just dropped this hat right here. Very, very fresh here. This one goes well with that Ryzen kit. Go ahead and check out that CaliArtHouse.com.
I don't know if you're a trucker hat guy, but man, that purple's got you written all over it, Papa. I know you in the purple.
Oh,
I know you love your color purple.
Truer words. Anyway, so yeah, check out Cali Art House for more information on that hat, or to check out the rest of their line. Happy birthday to Karen Putian, the former Galaxy Gray, original 96er. It's his birthday today. Hopefully he's surrounded by friends and family. Had 54 matches played in all competitions, 14 goals, and 9 assists played for the Galaxy. One of Greg Vanney's ex-teammates. Shout out to him. You get to see him every once in a while at the digs, and he's always a really, really nice guy. And we have a couple of viewing parties going down for this match against Tigres tomorrow, or of course, if you're listening to this after it drops on audio streaming only, then it is today. One of those multiverse things again. But anyway, the Galaxy official viewing party is going to be at Downey Brewing Company on Paramount in Downey at 6 p.m. So go ahead and check that out. There's at these Galaxy official ones, there's usually like the Star Squad or some kind of Galaxy presence out there, sometimes even Cosmo. So anyway, go ahead and check that one out. Also, LA Riot Squad is going to be pulling up to the Boulevard Gastropub in Compton, and I'm sure there's going to be other viewing parties. Go ahead and make sure to check out your supporter group socials and the Galaxy socials. They usually drop a notice on where people are going to be getting together as well. And last but not least, here on April 12th, the first giveaway that I just I'm just super sad that I won't be able to take a part of. Every once in a while, there's a stadium giveaway that I'm just like, damn, I wish I could take part in this. One of the other ones was the Galaxy Cowboy hat. I didn't get my hands on that one. Damn. Would have been perfect for Austin. But anyway, on April 12th, the Galaxy are going to be giving away a replica ring of the 2024 championship ring, won just a couple of months ago and debuted just a couple of months ago. Gorgeous ring. This one's going to be going out to the first 10K that come through the stadium doors. So make sure and get there early and pick up your replica ring. Go ahead and get a couple and shoot me one. Who knows? And yeah, that's about it here on announcements, Ananda. And just really quick on your VCFC update, guys. VCFC did play to a 2-1 win over Real Monarchs. Sean Karani opened the scoring in the 45th minute, just upon halftime. And then Luis Miller could not wait to get out of the dressing room and score again. He scored just after the restart in the 48th, but Real Monarchs got one back late to make the score 2-1. The result now leaves VCFC in third place, tied for second on 9 points. Their next match is against St. Louis City 2 on Sunday, April 13th at home at the Willie Roll. Tell me, Ananda, has that caught on yet? A little bit more.
I mean, I like it. I like it. All I kept
Growing
thinking
on
about when you mentioned the name Mueller, I was like, yeah, there's some other cat named Mueller who, interestingly, has some options this offseason. Maybe MLS bound? Question mark.
Look at you starting the cheeseman, bro.
Hey, not me. The stash talked about. We should get him back on soon, anyways. Especially around the summer transfer window season. There's a lot going on, man. You've got KDB, you've got Thomas Mueller, got some other interesting offseason options here.
He's not the stash anymore, man.
That's true. That is true. So what is he now? Just Tom, I guess.
I always called him Gambit with the good hair.
Still got the good hair. Still got the good hair for sure.
Yeah. So I mean that's just me. But anyway, shout out Tom. Yes, Sandy invite whenever you want to come back. I doubt that you listen to this humble little pod, but we're, as always, big fans, big admirers. Can't wait to see you again. Anyway, I'm just delaying the inevitable, Ananda, because I don't want to talk about this match, man.
So,
I mean, like,
are you like Fernando? Estoy being lost and confused for what's happening to Galaxy.
I mean, I'm not lost and confused. I mean, but what else to say? Important players are injured, insane. Melissa Rose, etc. Got it. But I think the locker room was broken.
Oh.
I gotta disagree. I mean,
yeah, and you cover the team. You're around the team, so you would have a feel for if the locker room is broken.
Yeah, no, they're just like more than anything frustrated that they haven't been able to get the results. No, I mean, no, I don't see these players. Like, I mean, you could tell in the body language, like, yeah, like they're disappointed to get these L's and losses, but no, I don't think so. I think they're still playing for Greg Vanney. More importantly, again, there's huge factors outside of his control. I'm not excusing anything because it is 7 matches at this point.
Yeah,
and the performance wasn't great. But no, I still think the locker room is with them. What do you think, Ananda?
Yeah, I don't think it's as bad as 2023, given the boycott situation and all these other extenuating circumstances. And then, of course, the injury bug hit us really hard that year, right? So it's like you gain a little bit of momentum, you win, El Tráfico, for example, at the Rose Bowl. We just can't build on it because of all the other injuries and just everything else going on. So yeah, I don't think it's that bad, but again, we'll get to that discussion a little bit later. I mean, it's still pretty dire.
Speaking of, interestingly enough, did you hear that they were able to, totally off topic, by the way, but if you're a Game of Thrones fan, you might be interested. Yeah. Again, I'm really, really trying not to talk about this game, but if you're a Game of Thrones fan, which a lot of us are for the last season, they were able to clone direwolves, Ananda. Like they direwolves were apparently in extinction, and they were able to like bring them back painstakingly, like through reconstructing DNA and stuff. That anyway, interestingly enough, for all you guys that are science fans, Game of Thrones fans, direwolves fans, can you tell I don't want to talk about this game?
Well, we're gonna have to. So let's roll on with what the hell happened in this game in the match summary, Rob.
All right, playing the third match in 7 days. These tired legs of the LA Galaxy fell 2-0 on the road to Real Salt Lake at America First Field on Saturday afternoon. It was an early game. I mean, Real Salt Lake is actually a really pretty stadium. El paisaje es muy bello en ese estadio. The Galaxy started a little bit flat, didn't look really inspired, but first 5 first half minutes were really their downfall as they gave up 2 goals. Diego Luna struck twice to kill the Galaxy off in those 5 minutes, and the Galaxy was unable to generate any offense to get back into the game. Really nothing happening on the offensive side. No shots on target. We'll talk about why that is. And now the Galaxy have not won a regular season MLS match since October 5th, 2024. Man, they have a long history, these two teams, 61 meetings across all competitions. Galaxy leads that series 25-21-15, and they hold a 21-18-13 record in league play against RSL. Other match stats here. Diego Fagundes captained the side for the very first time. Congratulations, Diego. It was his 399th career MLS regular season appearance. He is just one match away from 400. If Ananda, did I do my math right? 399, 400. Is that correct?
Nice.
Yes, I
well done.
Watch. When I learn how to read, y'all, damn. Anyway, so he ranks 15th all time in MLS history with matches played. And man, it would be great to mark that with a win. I was able to ask him about that occasion. 400 matches in this match against Houston on the weekend. If they were to get a win, I think that would be more special than the feat itself for Diego. But Joseph Painsil, he started for the first time in the season. He logged 60 minutes in this match. Like I mentioned on a couple of pods before, he played 30, then he played 45, then he played 60, and so maybe 75 in the next match. Who knows? Ruben Ramos, he made his first career. Ruben Ramos Jr. made his first career start for the Galaxy in league play. He played a half. In the match, it marks the first time that 2 LA Galaxy Academy products have started together since Jalen Neal and Johnny Pettis did it in June of 2024. That's Harbor Miller and Ruben Ramos Jr. Congratulations to them. And Eric Zavaleta, he made his 2025 debut, and he played a half as a second half substitute in this match. And really, what can you say about a defender when you don't have to call them out on anything? Is I guess he did his job on that, right? Ananda, but let's look at the starting lineup, because one of the things that I talked about in that opening is that this was a rotated lineup, necessitated really looking ahead to this match against Tigres tomorrow. So what can you tell us?
Just that, right? I think that was the biggest headline, was it was heavily rotated. I don't know if I expected this much rotation, Rob. I don't know if you did as well. I think some of it too, there were some injuries and some niggles that we didn't really understand the severity of the niggles, right? And Greg wanted to save them for Tigres. I mean, the big one that we found out after the fact was that Gabriel Peck was really nursing like a hip pointer, and it was after that challenge that should have been yellow carded, that should have been the second yellow, right? Should have been the second yellow, and that was the one that didn't get called. And it was because of that. I mean, he landed, we saw he was running in full speed, and he landed on his hip really hard. So that was I guess a surprise change. So a lot of this is, I think, just the big headline for me was the just the chopping and changing and managing the squad, right? I think like Miguel Berry for Christian Ramirez, you had Ruben Ramos in there because Royce is still out, for example. Parentes logged a lot of minutes. So you had to find options. And of course, if you take a chess piece like Peck away, it moves things around. We saw JP play a little bit more on the right-hand side as well in this match, instead of what you see there in Peck's absence, which is his natural position. So I thought that was interesting. It's interesting to see him on the right. We might talk about that a little bit. I didn't think he did that bad, but the problem was just the connection. That was the problem, the link up with his other teammates, and he struggled. I think our right side didn't look the same as it did before.
Phone check. Hey, interesting, because last year we spoke to Greg about this, and they're both right wingers naturally, Gabriel Pecci and Joseph Paintsel. So he told us that, as Joseph had started well, he played him on the right, but then Gabriel Peck came on and he started even better, and so he planted him on the right, and Joseph was good enough to be like, yeah, I'll play where you want me to play, man. I'll play on the left. That's not always the case. We've seen that Greg is very egalitarian. He's like very like it's very merit based. So if Joseph Painsel's getting the job done, I could very much see Gabriel Pecci finding himself on the left, or even playing through the middle, because that's one of the things that Greg Vanny has talked about, how he wanted to start using Gabriel Peck, giving him different options and different looks and stuff like that. We actually saw that a couple times against Tigres, him going through the middle. But anyway, as soon as you brought that up, I started thinking about how we could find ourselves in a world where Joseph Paintsel is the right winger and Gabriel Pecci is the left winger.
Yeah, I mean, we just need to get someone in more central positions, and we need to find them. Like JP had a couple of decent opportunities on the right, even Harbor Miller on that right side, just no one connected on the end of it. So that's a lack of quality, right? That's just a lack of technical quality in the final third. And so the other thing that I wanted to see more of is JP more in the middle, get him in more scoring positions. He was out wide. He was outside of the box. We need to get him in the scoring position, in and behind the back four, clean through on goal, 1v1 against a defender or a goalkeeper. And we did not do that. Zonka tried to hit him over the top with a few balls, and I think we need to do that during the course of the game to keep the defense honest. But it just didn't happen for us. Just not enough quality in the final third. And we might. That's a theme that I think is going to reverberate when we analyze this game.
Oh no, definitely. We are definitely going to be talking about that lack of production. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, right? They're looking at this match tomorrow. It's a rotated side. Those connections aren't there yet. But you don't. I didn't expect for the performance to be as flat as it was, and again, it's frustrating because these players they've already shown us that they can hang. A lot of these players have been in the lineup already, and they've done quite admirably in the absence of other people. But anyway, like I mentioned, it was really just 5 first half minutes. I mean, you talked about it. I talked about it last pod. How the guy to watch was Diego Luna, right? And they let him turn up with a brace. What did you see out of the Galaxy's inability to cover him? Like, what was the major malfunction here, Captain Dan?
I mean, one was just a mistake, point blank. There's nothing you can do there. Maybe you could have blamed the pitch. I don't know. The pitch was pretty bad, right? It looked pretty dry out there, and I think that's one of the things that the players talked about as well.
They did talk about that
on top of the altitude, but you can't use that as a crutch or as an excuse. Look, he's a good player. I mentioned it in the pregame. He's a crafty guy in that final third. He's got a lot of energy to burn. He's a live wire. And you've got to contain him like almost like guarding Ricky. You put 2 or 3 guys, you put a wall around him, and that's how you contain him. You can't let him get loose. You can't let him run past you. You've always got to track him and mark him and know at least where he is positionally, right? Because you can't be late to react, because he's going to snatch on. He's very, very good at winning second balls and third balls. Like, he's very, very good at that. So he's got the speed, like he's got a low center of gravity and everything. So that was the thing, and we missed our assignments, right? Whoever that was either on the right or in the middle, we just missed our assignments. And I said we have to contain him to win this game, and we did not. So, not surprised at the result.
Yeah, and I mean, really, they're both mistakes, right? The first one, like you said, nobody tracks that run. They lose him in the box. The second one, he just picks the defense's pocket right there in the back, and I mean, it's been the theme all year, right? Where the Galaxy continue to be their own worst enemies. But before we get into that, Ananda, you have some stats that will tell us a little bit more about the story of this match and really the lack of production.
Yeah. I will point out, I think, the key stats, but just to give you a rundown. So I think the key one for me, well, we'll start with the possession. So pretty even, Rob. 51-49. Look, we're away from home. We're playing in altitude. I don't mind that as much, but again, you've got to be savvy with that possession. You've got to hit them on the break or create your own opportunities from either a turnover, especially in midfield or high up the pitch. And we just didn't do that. I mean, we were outpassed by maybe 22, if my maths are correct, in those passes. But that's not terrible, given that you're away from home, given the context, given that you just played midweek, right? But the big thing is this. Well, let's start with this. XG 1.15, Real Salt Lake 2, Galaxy's 0.49 as the stats show. But I think the key stat is this, man. And let me just like take this off the screen so I can kind of read this off. But this to me, if I looked at that stat sheet on paper, I'm like, okay, 50-50 possession, weren't outpassed too much. XG, okay, like a little under a goal. But we saw those very similar stats, the games that we got a point, right? We got a result 1-1 away at Portland, for example. So to me, when you look at that, you're like, okay, that wasn't too bad. So what happened to the scoreline? Well, this is the thing, right? Shots on target, you talked about it. The Galaxy had no shots on target. RSL had 2 shots inside the box. Rob, RSL had 4 shots inside the box. LA Galaxy, goose egg. Big chances. RSL had 3 big chances, including one that they probably should have scored. I mean, absolute sitter by Gonçalves, right? Man. And absolute sitter. Maybe the ball bobbled up again, that nasty pitch. But LA Galaxy.
Kobe was like, yo, I would have scored that guy.
Kobe. Big chances, LA Galaxy, goose egg. And to me, that was the storyline of the game, in that, we didn't have our chances. We didn't do enough with the possession. We weren't clinical enough in the final third, whether that was a lack of technical quality, whether that was just lack of chemistry, especially on that right side. You had a couple of new teammates playing together on that right, Rob. If you think about it, you had Harbor Miller, JP, Ruben Ramos was more to the left, so it was really Tucker Lepley on that right-hand side and Cedillo at the base trying to support. There was just too many misplaced passes. There wasn't the rhythm, the chemistry was off. And then when it came to the final third, we had a couple decent buildups, right? Ball fizzes across the box, no one at the end of it. Cross goes too far or doesn't hit the near post. When you look at the converse, you remember that goal? I believe it was away at Portland, if not mistaken. Whatever the goal was, where Mickey Yamane hits that peach of a ball to Christian Ramirez on his head, glancing header back of the net. So those are the differences in technical quality that we need in the final third. That's going to be the make or break, whether you're going to get a goal or not. And to add insult to injury, Rob, we continue to be our own worst enemies. We keep shooting ourselves in the foot with these mistakes, man. I don't know how else to describe it. Just point blank, just that.
It was really telling when I spoke to Greg about the lack of chances created, that he said, usually we talk about a Galaxy team that's creating chances and they just are not putting away the final product. That was a theme a couple times last year, a theme the year before, but right now it's a little bit more akin to they're not even setting up the action to, they're not even setting up the ball before the ball, right? Greg said that there was a couple moments that could have been dangerous, and then that kind of fizzled out. The connections just aren't there. I mean, you talked about how this lineup was rotated. We've talked about how if these players don't have those connections on the field, everything's going to be a little bit slower. The time advantages that Greg Vanney seeks, that his players seek, aren't going to be there, and it's no wonder that it seemed slow and really RSL kind of had them figured out. There was never one moment in this match that I thought to myself, ooh, that's a peach of a ball, or oh, there's no way he's gonna miss this.
We're in, like, kind of thing. Like maybe Ruben Ramos's out, long shot. I mean, a bunch of pot shots and long shots, or maybe some block shots as well. So credit to RSL for that. But Rob, in terms of the worst enemies thing and or the lack of offensive production, we had a tweet here from friend of the show, Alex Ruiz. Galaxy recorded an XG of 0.3 in its 2-0 loss. Again, pretty similar to the 0.4. Whatever the number is, it's low. The last time the Galaxy recorded an XG tally that low was back in 2020 LA put up 0.2 XG in a 2-0 loss to LAFC on October 25th, 2020. So that's damning, right? And again, you compound that with these continuous defensive mistakes, Rob, not just from one player. It's been the entire back line. It's been the entire back line this season, whether it's the goalkeeper, whether it's Emiro Garces from the first game. And these, like, if it happens once or twice and you bounce back, that's fine, right? But if you continuously do this, like we've been doing pretty much almost every game this season, we talked about the locker room thing earlier. I know the locker room doesn't feel split to me, but they demoralize this team during games, and especially with a young squad. I don't know if we have that mental fortitude because we don't have as many veterans as maybe we did last year to maybe go through those tough spells and find a way to respond, right? Find a way to get back in games. And so this is like a problem compounding on another problem. And maybe, you know, one of the things I heard the Nag Boys, shout out the Nag Boys, they were on last night. One of the things I heard them say was, you're not seeing the same bounce backs. You're not seeing the same fight. You're not seeing the same comebacks as you did last year away from home. And I think I think for me, the symptom there is that, Rob. It's like these mistakes demoralize the team. They destabilize the team, especially a young team, right? I'm not making any excuses. I'm just kind of laying out the whole harsh reality, the cold, harsh reality, which is
those are what the facts are.
It is what it is. It is what it is, right?
Yeah, well, you're right. If you don't create, then you got to be damn sure that you're not making defensive mistakes, and that didn't happen in this match. And I don't think, again, that this locker room is split or that they've lost their faith in Greg Vanney. I think Greg Vanney has them, you know, still preaching from the hymnal and stuff like that. But it is frustrating. It's got to be. I mean, it's hard to stay positive when you. Again, this one is an isolation. I don't believe they played a great match in this one, but the previous matches, like the one against Vancouver, I mean, a couple of lucky bounces go their way. It's a different ball game, right? So yeah, I mean, but you're right that belief isn't there this year. That mental fortitude should be there because a lot of these young players were on this championship winning team. And thankfully it's still early enough in the season where they haven't been tested when it matters in a make or break situation, but that might come on Tuesday here. We'll talk about that here, but yeah, this defensive performance from the Galaxy this year is really hurting them, conceding 14 goals in 7 matches. That's 2 goals a game. It's very hard to win matches or pick up points when you're shipping at least 2 goals a game, and then to add insult to injury and not creating. And, you know, a lot of it was that the Galaxy's main contributors were injured. There were a couple of moments where Galaxy players stepped up in absences, like Harbour Miller and Tucker Lepley. Unfortunately, in this match, you never really saw that, Ananda, from any from anybody really that stepped up and you know, took ownership and said, you know, let me put this team on my back. Again, I just don't really feel like they were in it.
Yeah, and like I put on the screen there, I think a lot of Galaxy fans I see online are trying to find where the symptoms are, right? Like what's the difference between this year and last year? Why aren't we seeing, because in theory, like this is an MLS winning team. This is an MLS Cup winning team. And so you don't expect this big of a drop off year to year. And so I think for us, you know, one of the things that we talked about, you know, as we were preparing for the show is that just the supporting cast they haven't taken their chances exactly, right? You know, Zavaleta and Parente, okay, they were okay this game. Tucker has played okay, but there's no goal contributions. He's gotten in good positions. But again, we talked about the final product. And unfortunately, I feel like this team right now is and maybe this is the wrong word to say, but I feel this way, which is it's not built for right now, but it's built for the future based off of who's playing, because these are young kids, right?
No. I do think it's slightly underperforming, and I'll tell you the reason why. You know,
slightly disagree.
there's a plus minus to this, and you know what? There's always hindsight, but I'll give you an example. There were moments in this match where Tucker Lepley got into some good positions. There was maybe 2 or 3 instances where the final ball, he could have played a final ball or taken a better placed shot, and it would have been a better offensive threat in the moment. I'm thinking of one in particular that was kind of like off of a rebound, and it comes to him, and he shoots it wide right. Props for getting into the positions, but now you just need to get that final action right. So,
well, that's what I'm saying. Like it's not there yet. It's reps. So this is the comparative analysis I did, Rob. Which is, maybe if you think about it this way, maybe it'll make more sense to you. So I'm gonna compare this supporting cast with last year. Think about last year in terms of Cerrillo. He was an unknown quantity. He was an unknown product, but he had a breakout season last year, capped off by Golazo in a huge game, right, against LAFC. You think about John Nelson. He was an unknown quantity. We didn't know what to expect from him. He stepped in. He became John the Rock Nelson in the second half of the year. Mark Delgado. He's a guy that's not here anymore. But let's think about who the best player was in the first 10 games of the season last year.
You said that like he died.
It was Mark Delgado, red hot start and consistent play. And if you needed a Gaston to fill in for 20, 30 minutes, I mean, you could rely on him to either close out a game or get you an assist or get you an MLS Cup MVP winning season. You now compound that on top of Dejan's consistent goal scoring. You had Neil and Garces tag teaming different parts of the season, partnering Maya to, yes, the defense wasn't good in the beginning of the season, but as the season went along. So this is what I'm saying. The list goes on, right? Now, it's not to say that the supporting cast right now are terrible players. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is they're not producing the end product at the final level that the supporting cast was last year. And last year, this team had all 3 DPs playing, and this year it's not. So it's a lot of pressure on them, but I think it's going to take time. And I think this is what I'm saying in terms of, I'm not talking about like 3 or 5 years in the future. I'm talking about like, it's going to take a season for these guys to bet in. I mean, this is Tucker's first MLS experience, Isaiah Parente's first MLS experience, Ruben Ramos's first MLS experience, Harbin. I mean, the list goes on. So this is the comparative analysis that I did in my head, and that's how I'm kind of justifying what I talked about. Again, it's not to down tools on these players. It's not to, criticize heavily, but it's just it is. I'm just making a comparison, and it is what it is, right?
Well, we do have a super chat from Adam. He says, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a loss tomorrow, but would be surprised if Galaxy wins tomorrow night against Tigres, against former G, Uriel Antuna. You know what? I can only hope for a good showing. Greg said that he loves these type of matches because of the quality shown by both teams. I just want to see a good game of football, and the Galaxy quit themselves well. Hang on to your hats. We'll get to that Tigres preview very, very shortly. Anyway, and on to the G's really are facing the multiple reality, the harsh realities of having to play in multiple competitions. They had to rotate their squad to make sure that they had the pieces necessary to go ahead and give a good account of themselves in Mexico tomorrow. And you saw kind of the downfall in this Real Salt Lake match. I mean, we've already spoken about players that haven't really played with each other before, or don't have those connections with each other, those good understandings. We already spoke about the pitch, which Diego told us about, that was a factor for them. The altitude we heard about as well. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, there's multiple reasons why this team couldn't pick up that win, but it's one of those things where the Galaxy are still waiting for the first win of the season. they were really out of this one by the end of the first half, and the wait goes on. But Ananda, we have a one main query here for chat. Yes, you were about to say, yeah.
No, I was about to say too. We see this historically, right, with MLS in terms of teams that have multiple competitions, especially get into CCC. They tend to struggle, right, especially in the beginning of the season. Seattle, you look at case studies like Seattle, you look at Columbus, right? Typically, teams more often than not struggle beginning of parts of the season, and that just all the data points there. So this is, by the way, this is part of our thinking. Remember when we were talking about they might be outside of top 4, at least myself, because I knew that this was going to be a factor. Like, this is a huge factor, having to travel to Salt Lake and then having to travel again to Mexico just a day later. It's not easy, right? It's not easy, especially with the depleted squad like the Galaxies right now.
¿Qué diferencia, no? Ir de Salt Lake a México. ¿Qué diferencia de cultura? ¿Qué diferencia de música y ambiente, no? Hey, but no,
and hopefully la cancha too, man. Jeez.
Oh my God. Well, one of the things about that city is that all those stadiums are picturesque and have wonderful views. But no, we wanted to ask you, chat. Query here for you guys. I mean, we don't want to be alarmist. I mean, we already know what it is, what the situation is, what the why Greg's rotating, the injuries, what the Galaxy are dealing with, but the fact remains, no wins. So chat, have the G's hit rock bottom? Go ahead and let us know what you think. Go ahead and give us the reasons why. But now we're going to go with the man himself, El Papa de Nata, coming live and direct to you right now. Have the G's hit rock bottom? Anandita, go.
One word answer? Yes. What about you?
No.
Oh, okay. This is a good debate then. See, this is a good debate. All right, go for it. Give me a reason. Give me a reason.
No. There's so much further to fall. Like, for example, I mean, they've been rotating the squad so they can prioritize this Champions Cup, right? Say the worst comes to pass and they get eliminated by Tigres tomorrow. Again, stick around. We'll talk about this match in a second. Then you're looking at a campaign now where you were just knocked out of the Champions Cup and you still have not won a match. So I do think that there's as kind of depressing as the situation is at the moment, I do think there's a little bit further down to fall. Unfortunately, not that that's what I'm wishing will happen. I do wish quite the opposite, in fact. But they lose against Tigres, they get knocked out. They're out of that competition. They're in last place, and they did it all for the reason of trying to make an impact in this competition, and they got knocked out. So no,
yeah. So it's going to take for you to get us knocked out of the competition for it to hit rock bottom. That's what I gather, right?
No, I mean it just from there it's a slippery slope. I mean you have a winnable game on the weekend, but let's be frank. I mean the Galaxy haven't looked great at home either. So I mean then you're looking at elimination from that competition and 8 games in a row that you haven't won. And again, and all of that quicksand, man. I mean, this is.
I know.
I mean, you brought it up yourself. It all compounds on each other. The frustration builds on itself, and that. I mean, Fernando's question wasn't inappropriate. It was just kind of like premature, because there does come a point where the results aren't there and the players do start turning on managers. We've seen it in any kind of league across the world. Hopefully that doesn't happen here. But
yeah,
anyway,
I guess I just said yes because me, I'm a maths guy, I'm a numbers guy. If I look at the numbers, Rob, technically we are rock bottom. We are last place in the Western Conference. We have no wins. We are the only Western Conference team right now without a win, right? I'm not even looking at supporter show. I'm just looking at our conference and making the playoffs. So I guess I look at it from that stance. It's like, can it get any worse? Like from a pure points perspective and position, can it get any worse? Right? Because even if you keep losing, like you said, the slippery slope, you're still in last place. Like there's only one place to go from 15th, and that's up. Right? Like there's literally you can't slip any further. Now, if you're asking me to compare it to 2023, those were historical levels of rock bottom, right? You think about all the red cards, you think about the things going off the pitch. But if I'm just looking strictly from a table perspective, it can't get any worse from here. And I'm just hoping that, like, on paper, we shouldn't be this bad of a team. That's the thing that's super frustrating. We are not this bad of a team. Like, I on paper, I don't think that's to be the case.
I think they were underperforming.
I think we have a good coach. We have a good backbone in terms of the external structure of the team, from Will Kuntz all the way down to the coaching staff and to the players. So again, I think there's only one. Maybe this is not the optimistic view in me, but there's only one room to go, and that's up. So got to start from the bottom, and hopefully now we'll be there in the playoffs by the end of the year. And in the finals of CCC. So there you go. But there's some things that I got to change for sure.
And it'll be worth it if they do make the final of the Champions Cup, especially if they win it. Nanda, you thought a thread from one of our friends of the show, Lex, was interesting here. LA Galaxy.
Yeah, just to close out this conversation, I thought this was interesting. And you guys can kind of noodle on this, so we'll keep going here and get you that Tigres preview, which is a huge match, and yes, it is a must-win. So we will preview that match in detail here. But I think this is a lot of the sentiment that I saw in the Galaxy sphere on social. So go ahead, guys. If you feel a certain way, just go ahead and react to it and put it in the chat. But Lex, LA Galaxy 310, shout out Lex. He says, my confidence in this roster is at a new low. Starting to doubt that a healthy Ricky Puig can fix this. Maybe, just maybe, this Galaxy team is actually as bad as their record showed. And this is the debate that we're having, right? And I thought I saw some interesting responses. So shout out Big Melvin Rocker. That's at Melvin Rocker. He says,
yeah, Melvin, what up?
Given the team's recent performance, it's highly unlikely that Ricky will make a significant difference, especially since he'll be adjusting to the team after his return. I'm going to add to that, especially coming off an ACL injury. Sky at Sky there shows, he says, just shows how much the roster has been built around Ricky. Take him out and it's a car with no gas. Super interesting analogy there. And so far it's proven to be. And then H. This is really interesting. Caps it off with, at what point where you start to shop the DPs around, because this team needs a whole new rebuild again. So again, that's a very doomsday scenario, but it's an interesting thought. It's an interesting thought. Like at what point, what happens if the team, like you said, Robert, continues down this doomsday, continuous slippery slope scenario? What happens in the summer? What do we do? So again, hope we don't get to that point, but I put that in there just to kind of paint the picture of what happens, right? And I'm sure Will's thinking about like 5, 6, 7 different scenarios anyways. So
yeah, well, the scenario that's very present is there's no lana full, there's no money. But anyway, we'll cross those bridges when we get to them. Let's talk about your defending the badge winner. Anand and I debated on whether or not to even do a defending the badge winner. I mean, there was very little to cheer about in this one, but we ended up going with these 4 candidates: Miro Garces, Tucker Lepoli, Edwin Cedillo, and Isaiah Parente. Edwin had 1 chance created, 95% pass accuracy, 3 recoveries, and totals 1. And Miro, Emmy had a 90% pass accuracy, 6 passes into the final third. I call that one out because even though he had a good performance and he had a couple more passes in the final third than usual, one of the things that Greg has spoken about that he wants to see from Miro Garces is to be playing that forward ball a little bit better. In comparison, Zonka, who did not have as good a game as Amir Garces, made 9 passes into the final third. That's going to be really important for a team that's not creating a lot. But to continue here with Amir Garces, 1 clearance, 2 interceptions, 15 recoveries, 7 duels, 1, and he was fouled twice. He made himself known physically for sure in this one. Isaiah Parente, 91% pass accuracy, 1 block, 5 recoveries, and 2 duels won. And Tucker Lepley, 94% pass accuracy, 1 block shot, 1 clearance, 2 recoveries, 1 duel won. And now, with the winner is Ananda Kirana. Go ahead and hit him up with that winner, Ananda.
Oh, I'm the winner. Thanks, man. I'm the winner of defending the badge. Awesome.
Yeah. You finally won one.
Well, with more than 2 votes this time, with 85 million votes, the people have spoken, and the winner is Emilio Garces, which would have been my pick as well, Rob. I think he had a stellar defensive game. He had probably 3 or 4 situations in the first half that he just took out by himself, and I think this is more of an Emmy game where he uses speed and physicality, but with more composure and just not being as rash. So I agree with the people on this one. Emmy Garces, MLS Matchday 7, defending the badge, but of course, again, in a loss, and that's what matters the most, folks.
Yeah. Yes, it was a loss. So after 7 matches, the Galaxy holds a 0-5-2 record.
Yeesh.
They have a -9 goal differential with 5 goals for, 14 goals against. They are on 2 points, good enough for 0.29 points per game, in 15th and last place, especially because SKC got that new coach bounce and picked up a win. I hear that Dejan Joveljic scored that brace over there in SKC.
Of course
Shout
he
out
did.
to him. We miss you, Dejan. Anyway, like Ananda mentioned, the Galaxy are now the only team yet to win a game in the Western Conference, but as has been their balm, their salve, their safe place, their refuge all season, the Galaxy has an opportunity to set things right tomorrow against Tigres as they continue their 2025 Champions Cup campaign, and they travel to Mexico to face Tigres at Estadio Universitario El Volcán on Tuesday, April 8th. They traveled to Mexico today, Monday. I hear they faced a little bit of traffic. There was a press conference scheduled for 5, and it started just after that. And I hear it was due to that traffic. So that Mexico traffic is real, y'all. The teams played to a physical draw in the first leg at the Digs last week, and a match that was testy. It was fiery. There was a lot of fouls to go around, including the one that laid Gabriel Pecci out. Again, Angulo is a lucky lad to still have been on the field. This one is going to be no different. This one is going to be as CONCACAF as it gets, as it will be there in Mexico, in Monterrey, in front of Tigres' fans, who will be doing their best to disquiet and unsettle the Galaxy. Last week's match was the first ever meeting between the two clubs, and now the series is tied 0-0-1. And in 3 matches played in the campaign, the Galaxy holds a 1-1-1 record. They also hold a 22-13-12 record all time in 47 Champions Cup matches. And if you guys need a little bit of a reminder, they did reach the quarterfinal round after beating Herediano 4-2 on aggregate over 2 legs. And it was the 9th time that the Galaxy had reached the quarterfinal round. They've reached the semifinal round 4 times. So if they somehow squeak by Tigres, then that'll be 5. Again, Ananda, is my math correct on that? 5 follows 4. Did I do that right? Okay. All right, cool. Anyway,
Nice.
we have some Galaxy team news here for you. We did get to speak to Greg today in the press conference, and he did give us a heads up. Of course, everybody knows what's up with Ricky, so we'll just skip him. He did let us know that the Galaxy get a boost. Gabriel Pecci and Lucas Sanabria will be in the squad. Who knows what kind of role they will take, but they are in the squad. One would hope that Gabriel Pecci plays a big role to give the Galaxy as good of a chance as they can. Traveled but did not play was Mauricio Cuevas, who had been talked about as hopeful for this Tuesday match. It didn't come to pass, and now it looks like most likely it'll be Mauricio Cuevas being ready for Houston, and then Marco Royce and Maya Yoshida did not travel. And of course, Marco Royce still dealing with that knee injury, and Maya Yoshida dealing with that hamstring injury. Yeah, I mean, again, you're really hoping that Gabriel Pecchi is fit to play a big role here. Ananda, Tigres has the same players out as last time: Guignac, Reyes, Guerrero, and Juan Pablo Vignon. But Ananda, really quick on that Gabriel Peck injury or his availability. If it's you with the match and the importance of it, do you, if Gabriel Peck is available to you, do you go with him from the outset, or do you save him for a potential 0-0 and you're trying to get something from this match?
No, I start him right away. The goal here is you're trying to get the away goal, right? If you get the away goal, essentially Tigres has to score 2. It's almost like you have 2, right? In essence, in a weird sort of way. So I think you start him from the outset, based off of Greg's comments. Last game was more precautionary, that he got the full rest that he needed, that he probably needed. So he's a full week's rest now. So I would expect him to start this again. This is must win now. We talked about, what is a must win game earlier on the season. This is the definition of a must win. We have to win this game. We can win this game with a 1-1 draw or a draw, right? Because of the away goals rule. So again, that we have to work that to our advantage. But again, man, this is going to be a tough team, but you want your best players. And I guess I know we're kind of, I feel like maybe a little bit too. I think it's because of my disappointment, my frustration. I'm kind of overreacting to that one game in Salt Lake. But I would say this: I would take that L in Salt Lake if we get this W in Tigres. This is how important this game is. This is a game that could change the course maybe of the next few weeks of the Galaxy. And I think a loss also would keep us in the doldrums and not change the course, but I guess worsen the course for the next couple of weeks for the Galaxy. This is huge, man. And you want your best players playing in this game, even if they're at 60, 70, 80%.
Well, the Galaxy already played the Tigres team once. They fought that 0-0 draw, and they became part of a kind of a down stretch for Tigres. The last match, they tied 0-0 against Puebla. Before that was a 0-0 against Galaxy. And before that was that 3-0 loss on the road to Club America. So that goes 3 matches now on the trot that Tigres has not scored. And however, on the flip side, they've only lost once in their last 8 games. They did drop from 4th to 6th place in Liga MX. They have an 8-2-4 record on 26 points. But of course, you can't discount this team. We already know about their quality and about what they can do. One of the things that I asked Greg about, it's quite simply, I try to state it as diplomatically as I could, but Galaxy are underdogs in this one. People expect them to go to El Volcan and get smoked 2-0, 3-0. I heard some of my colleagues in the first leg talking about it behind me. Some of the Spanish-speaking press saying 0-0 here, but it might be 2-3-0 in Mexico. By virtue of the altitude, by virtue of the crowd that's going to be pushing, baying for blood, the Tigres has an advantage already. So, like Comments 96 says, nothing to lose. Come out blazing. And I had a chance to talk to Greg and Christian Ramirez about this, and Greg kind of agrees. He wants to figure out solutions that will make sure to test Tigres, not be so reactionary, and let them dictate how the match will go, but try to impose themselves as well, even though they are away, which is really heartening, because it's the impetus is to say, we can sit back and maybe hit on the break. We have a speedy player and Joseph Painter or something like that. But that's not the Galaxy's game. Their game is possession, and they've never really been that under Greg Vanney. So it's good to hear him say that they're going to stick to that identity that makes them them. Ananda, there's kind of they've already seen this team, so there's kind of like this issue here now. Now that we've seen this team, do we go a little bit more defensive? Do we go do we go 4-4-2? Like what does the Galaxy do, right? We already saw that Tigres played a 5-3-2 in that first leg, making good use of their wing backs, Aquino being one of them. Lanes actually played a very, very good foil in that match. And Uriel Antuna was a surprise conclusion. I'd actually be surprised if we saw him start again in this match. But, of course, the man over there for them was Brunetta, but he was largely limited. Ananda, what are you potentially seeing for the Galaxy's lineup in the second leg here?
Honestly, I hope we see a very similar lineup that we saw against Tigres in the first leg. You guys see it on the paper. Again, if you guys recall the episode that we did post-match, it shows up as a 4-3-3, but I think one of the things that to be honest, like I don't know because I haven't heard the press conference. I know you were there, but it's nice to hear that Greg wants to sort of come out blazing, but I think he's got to be smart. I think he's got to be smart in the way he sets up his team, and he can't lose
not guns out blazing. He just wants to impose it though. He did say they need to pick their moments and be smart.
That's right. We need to pick our moments. He's right about that. We need to pick our moments because we can't leave the door open, the back door open, because we know that they can hurt. I mean, we saw the graphic just a second ago. Tigres have scored 6 goals in 2 games earlier on. I think it was 4 or 5 games ago. So they're capable of doing that. So I think, and I would hope, and I would expect that Greg sets up the team like he did last time. Rob, 4-4-2, 2 strikers up top. You defend and attack in that way. It's the most balanced setup, and that's a good way that you're going to counteract the wingback system that Tigres plays. So you have that cover on the wings. You're not going to get doubled up on the wings. Nelson and Yamane are going to have cover. And then you play 2-striker setup, whether that's Ramirez and Paintsell, Fagundes on the left, Peck on the right, or you go 2-4-2-3-1 and maybe put Diego as the second striker, and you have Peck and Paintsell out in the wings. Again, it's a very balanced setup. It worked well against Tigres. I would hope that Greg's going to deploy the same thing, maybe with a couple of tweaks. But I think that the combination of that, along with our personnel being back, so those partnerships are now put back in place. Yamane, Parente, Peck on the right-hand side. And then you've got Fagundes, Ramirez, Cerrillo. Nelson will probably stay back a little bit, knowing his defensive tendency. So, yeah, man, I just think we need to be smart. I think we need to manage this game well. Again, all we need is 1 away goal and keep it tight, and that's it. Even if we give up the first goal, all we need is 1. That's all we need.
All you need is 1. Do you think Nelson's going to stay over Aude?
Probably given the rotation. Also, he's a little bit more defensively sound, and if we need either a closeout or to close out the game, or we're chasing the game, we're chasing that. We're down 1-0. We just need that 1 goal just to tie it up and smash and grab this home. Aude can be your outlet on the left wing, and he will give him license to attack if we need to.
Alrighty, we have reached the moment. LA Galaxy fans, all y'all in chat, y'all know what to do for the Galaxy to win this match. They have to ... That's for the Galaxy to win this match. They have to ... Go ahead and let us know in the chat. And while you're at it, make sure and hit that like and make sure to hit that subscribe button as well. Hit the subscribe. How's that one for a new jingle? Does that one work?
You've got like 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 jingles tonight, so I mean, we gotta, they're in the recording track now, so just
workshopping a couple new things, right? But while people are dropping their keys to the match here for the Galaxy to win this match, they have to ... While y'all are doing that in chat, Ananda is going to be bringing us these betting odds brought by him and Dr. Raquinho rega por nosotros.
Yeah, so this is, I just found these are more the odds. So -230 for Tigres and +180. So in terms of win probabilities, that's actually a huge win percentage for Tigres. That's 70+%. Again, not surprising based off of what Rob mentioned a moment ago. They're really, really good at home. They can score three in bunches and threes and twos and fours and all that good stuff. And again, like Rob said, the bookies are predicting that they're not giving the Galaxy much of a shot. +180, that's around 35% for the odds there. So again, I mean, this is a tough match, man. There's no ways about it. This is a tough match. And again, like, let's go back to this for the Galaxy to win. I mean, this is going to be a tough match. So Rob, for me, the only way they're going to win this match is they need to manage the game and they need to make game-winning plays. That's on both ends of the pitch. They need to make the right clearances. They need to not shoot themselves in the foot. Please, por favor, gracias. I mean, that's been Galaxy's biggest Achilles heel this year, is just shooting ourselves in the foot. But we need to make game-winning plays, right? We need to make the right reads, make the right tackles on defense, and just be defensively sound like we were, to be honest, at home. And then on the other end, make the game-winning play. We need to be clinical. When we get our chances, we need to take it. You said it all last year. We need to execute. So many times you said for the Galaxy to win, they need to execute. Well, maybe instead in a different way, they need to execute on both ends of the pitch. And if they do that and manage the game correctly, come in with the right game plan, not be too offensive, not be too defensive either, and invite pressure, hit them on the break, and keep them honest, we have a shot. But again, there's a lot of ifs, ands, and buts. We talked about this against RSL, and they completely, disregarded what us two knuckleheads had to say. So there you go. This is going to be tough, though. Super, super tough match.
Yeah. Start thinking of your prediction, because I went first last time, so that's you. So for the Galaxy to win this match, they have to ... Well, I started thinking about how, again, through virtue of all the advantages that Tigres has, they have the liberty and the license to just go out there and play free, but also that requires them to have Tigres respect them a little bit, right? They need to kind of like open up Tigres' eyes to, oh snaps, like these fools are actually here.
They need to earn the respect,
right? So all I keep thinking about is Kobe and the USA versus Spain, and how Kobe, like in the very first play, like went and ran through Pau Gasol's chest, right? And so I'm not saying that they have to go ahead and go balls out and run through somebody's chest, but definitely impose yourselves. I mean, Greg said this about Nascimento, how he wanted to see more of a nasty streak from Nascimento. I want to see a little bit more of a nasty streak from the entire team. I mean, play with that chip on your shoulder. I mean, there was that question I asked Edwin Cerrillo last week, and it was really to kind of get his reaction to what is the perceived underdogedness. Is that a word? No, I'll workshop that. But the Galaxy are certainly underdogs in this tie. So I wanted to find out from Edwin Cerrillo if that was grading or if that was a slight. And so, since even these betting odds let you know that the Galaxy are not favorites in this one, I want them to take that chip on their shoulders and go in there with that nasty streak, with that mean streak, impose yourselves. You have nothing to lose. You have absolutely nothing to lose. Go out there and play free, play your game. At least the bookies anyway, don't expect the Galaxy to win, right?
But do you expect the Galaxy to win? Do you expect the Galaxy to win, Papa? Do you expect the Galaxy to win?
Well, I don't know. You're supposed to go first.
See what I did there? No one goes first because chat goes first. That is always the right answer. So GCam puts his prediction in there. Head pick 5-0 Tigres. Sheesh. Heart pick 1-0 Galaxy.
We actually didn't read some of these for the Galaxy to win. They they need to ...
Oh yeah.
Let's pull up score first.
Yeah, I was gonna say let's pull them out their predictions, but go ahead. You're on a roll.
GCam says score first. Scott W says have to ... win.
I agree. And then comments 96. El Primo says, first shot, first foul, first goal. Like I said, first foul, man. Impose yourself. Papa says, believe in the butterflies. I don't know what the butterflies is. Roger says, perform an ancient Aztec sacrificial ceremony on top of the volcan. But I like what you said more. I like that as well. All right, so now it's time for Ananda to give you a prediction.
This is hard pick 100%. But again, the only way I see the Galaxy winning this, man, is a 1-1 draw, which would advance the Galaxy through to the next round. Look, Tigres might score first, man. They might come out the blocks hot. But again, if we manage this game well, we stay defensively sound, we stay in that 4-4-2 formation, both on defense and offense. I think we just gotta settle the nerves. And maybe this is what Papa's talking about with the butterflies. It's like we gotta settle down the nerves. It's going to be a raucous stadium. It's going to be a hostile atmosphere. It's going to be tough with all the elements are going against the Galaxy, right? If they get through the first 15, 20 minutes unscathed, awesome. It's almost like you've got to look at this as 3 mini games, like the first 30, the second 30, and the last 30, right? Let's get through the first 30 unscathed. The second 30, okay, let's say Tigres scores. Fine. You're still in the tie. You only need 1 goal to advance, Papa. Only 1, right? So this is what I'm saying about
one.
This is what I'm saying about managing this game, right? We just got to manage this game the right way. And again, I think the personnel going back into the lineup, Yamane, Peck, Parente, etc., I think that's going to help, especially that right-hand side of the attack. I think the attack's going to be a little bit more fluid. The technical quality in the final third, we know what Yamane can do in the final third. We know what Peck and Paintsel can do in the final third. Christian Ramirez has been on a good goal run this year. He should be back in the starting 11. We know what those players can do. So it's like, let's build off of that and manage this game well. And 1-1 would be a huge result for this team. I think it would be momentum shifter for sure. So, man, that's a hard pick for me, but that's what I'm hoping for, man. 1-1. Give me a 1-1, Galaxy.
Last point before I give you my prediction. Greg spoke about in the press conference, because he's been there to El Volcan before, took Toronto there, and actually got through. He spoke about taking a more mature or an older team down to Mexico. So
right, Michael Bradley's, Victor Vasquez, those guys. Yep.
So what you're going to have to see for the Galaxy to go through is for these young men to have very mature performances. When Ananda was talking about mental toughness, that's going to require mental toughness as well. So for the Galaxy to win, mental toughness, mature performances, really just going out there and taking care of business.
But does that mean a Galaxy win? That is $1 million question, Papa. Does that mean a Galaxy win?
That means a Galaxy progress in the tie after a 1-1 draw. All they need is 1. I think they'll get it somehow.
All they need is 1.
Anyway, yeah, I think they'll get it somehow, some way, and all they got to do is like we've been talking about all pod, not shoot yourselves in the foot, be defensively sound. Right. Comments says 2-1 Paintsel Ramirez. Comments from your lips to the Lord's ears, for sure.
You mean Matthew 2-1 Paintsel Mona Lisa of a performance? See what I did there?
Ooh. Yeah, that'd be great. Getting a win and the Mona Lisa performance right after the game.
Fire track. Yeah.
Well, I think that's all we have for today. And we're both calling a 1-1 tie. Maybe it is just a heart pick. Maybe it is just something that we want to see rather than based on analysis. But the Galaxy did play Tigres very, very well in that first leg. The conditions are going to be a little bit different, but they were able to match up well the first time. I believe they can do so the second time. And like we've already said, all they need is 1. So an away goal gets the Galaxy through. A 1-1 is enough to get them through.
And not give up 2 or 3.
Yeah, exactly. Be defensively sound. Be mature. Take care of business. I think that's about it from us. And do you have anything else to add?
Yes. So of course I always leave the last word to chat. So I did start a few of these comments, Rob. So let's go through them. Troll says, we the fans are more upset in being last place. We have to be honest. We have a lot of injuries and lost a lot of good players. And yeah, I think that's right. I think, being in last place is never a good look, especially as a fan. I think that's what we're reacting to in our fandom. So I agree with that for sure. Ito Nomi says they need to give it everything tomorrow. I don't care. Just effing win, please. I think a lot of Galaxy fans and some of you in the media as well probably share that sentiment as well. Carlos Segovia says something is missing. Yes, the obvious is not having Puig, but last year we won 3 games back to back without him, if I remember correctly. Yeah,
I think it was 4 out of 5 actually.
Yeah, you do remember that correct. We were unbeaten, but you got to remember that was a different context in terms of we were in the middle of the season. We'd built up some momentum earlier on the season. We had veterans in there like Mark Delgado, right? Dejan Jovic was a starting striker. He was in red hot form. He bailed us out of a couple of games. So I think the context is much different. But you're right. Going back to the first part of your statement, something is missing. And that's why we're seeing the difference in the performances and the results. Comments, Matt, stirring the pot. Let's see here. He says you got to pull the coach if it gets that bad. I think he was talking about the earlier conversation, Rob, about if we get to the summer transfer window, and I think you were responding to that comment around looking at the DPs, etc. So let's park this because this is an interesting one and something we haven't talked about yet on the show. Rob, maybe I don't want to talk about it until it gets to a inflection point where we do have to talk about it, which is Greg's on a contract year. And from what we know from your reporting, maybe we don't
talking about it already.
We don't know. We don't know what's going on in terms of an extension. So let's park that conversation. But look at comments 96 stirring the pot. And the last one from the always, the ever present XPH. Time for that reverse racism, Papa. The reverse one. Trap game for Tigres. Galaxy with the smash and grab.
That's gonna get us canceled, bro. Like somebody's gonna clip you saying that shit, dude.
And me with the Ringle. So there you go, man. And that's it. Thank you, chat, as always.
Chat, thank you guys so much. I did have a chance to ask Diego. We'll leave you guys with this on what he would say to a frustrated Galaxy fandom at the moment. And I think that this is something that we already know, but he says that on his message to the fans, one thing we can give them is we've been putting all 110% out there on the field. It's not the way we wanted to start, but if you have seen this league for many years, I think you've seen that teams that are in CONCACAF, they don't always start well. And Nanda, that's to your point from earlier. At the end of the day, it's making sure that you make the playoffs. And for us, like I said, it's one game at a time. And if we can turn everything around, we can get there. We can't be looking at the big picture and say we got to look at the big picture and say we're going to go all the way to the final. We have to go a game at a time, making sure that we get our job done. And like I said, Tuesday is a huge game, and then Saturday is going to be important. We are going to be at home with our fans, and we need to show them what kind of team we are. We are the 2024 MLS Cup champions, and we need to show that to them. I know they were going to be there supporting us no matter what. So a call to arms from Diego Fagundes, who was the captain, might be the captain again on this weekend match. So you heard it here from Diego Fagundes, your captain. He needs everybody in the stands, and they're really just trying to. It sounds like they're just trying to get that first win. Like, let's not think about too far in advance. Let's just get that first win, and that's where it starts, right? Just that first win. Well. That's where it starts, and that's where it ends from us, guys. We'll be back with you on Thursday, April 10th, with our Champions Cup reaction and a preview for Houston at home on Saturday, April 12th. And then a week from today, on Monday, April 14th, we'll have a Houston reaction pod. And blessedly, the Galaxy does not have a midweek game to worry about. So we'll go ahead and catch up with you guys a little bit later after that. Thank you so much from all of us here at this humble little pod. Thank you, chat. Thank you guys that are listening through the audio method. Here's another call to arms. Diego asked you guys to be there at the game. We're going to ask you guys to go ahead and hit that like and subscribe. We would love it if you do. Make sure and put someone onto this pod. And only one thing left to say, Ananda, and that's LA Strong, Vamos Campeones, and Jesus!
Merci beaucoup.